Welcome to Behind the Design with Jacqueline Green. I'm a marketing pro, entrepreneur, and mom of two. I blend my experiences in marketing, interior design, and education with a side of humor to help small business leaders grow their businesses. Get ready for some practical expert tips from someone who knows the industry inside and out. Now let's jump in today's topic. I was abandoned. I was 10 years old. My mother dropped me off. She left. The worst part about it is, I remember that conversation the day before. She talked me into it. She manipulated me. She told me this was my idea. And she dropped me off. It was the best thing that could have happened to me. The best thing. She dropped me off to my father, who was a functional alcoholic, which sounds kind of bad. But an amazing worker, one of the smartest men I've ever known, at every single game, kept my stats. Every violin practice, and I was not good, I can tell you that. That man was always there for me, every single moment of the day. So from that standpoint, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. It also taught me resilience. It taught me to be strong. My father would actually call me when I moved out to Denver right after college, and he did this for years. And he would call me and go, "You are a survivor." And he would leave that on my voicemail. And I really wish I had those, of course. But he taught me that I could stand in my own self. He never once told me I couldn't be who I was meant to be. But then I went into corporate. And corporate tends to eat us alive, right? I was around a lot of men. I would get emotional when I would get criticized. And it really wasn't criticism, it was constructive. But boy, did it hurt. And so I ended up going back to that little girl who thought she did something wrong. It was me that was abandoned. I did something wrong when my mother dropped me off. It was me doing the wrong things in corporate that I would be told, "Don't be so passionate. Take it down a level. You do not need to be passionate all the time." Yes, I did. I absolutely needed to be passionate. And so when I went out and I decided I wanted to do this, yes, that's why I wanted to scream at the top of my lungs, I am not the problem. My problem, when my mother dropped me off, I was not the problem. She was the problem. She was unstable. She needed to do her. As a little 10-year-old girl, you don't realize that, though, of course. You don't know what's going on. But as I've gotten older, I made sure, of course, I wasn't that mother. My kids are more like, seriously, back off a little. You don't have to be in my all the space all the time. But I wanted them to know that they always had someone to depend on. I want the people that I work with, my clients, I want them to know that they're not alone. I want them to know they can be passionate. They can bring that forth and they can be who they were meant to be. Having something like that happen to you in such a young age and having to deal with it. At the time, I was kind of like, whatever. But to really think back, and it's taken me 50 plus years, or 40, I guess, years to really think through, how did that impact me? And how am I still letting it impact me today? And how do I get over that? How do I bring that passion up, that being who I am, who I was meant to be, the person that stands here and shares ideas. I am smart. I am resilient. I am definitely someone who can stand in my own. But to let society tell us, through other means that you can't do that, you can't be emotional, you can't be who you are meant to be, that really does take a lot out of our hearts, right? And so I want to, when we think about our one word, when I talk about my son and the challenges and trying to help him and trying to encourage him to be who he is, it's understanding and coming up with that. All I know is I don't want any other child to ever feel this way. But I also don't want any other woman not to understand that they can come into their space. And that nothing, absolutely nothing can take them down. Not somebody else that has an opinion on what you should do. Not someone else who has an idea of what you're supposed to be. You know, because remember, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. You sat back. You minimized yourself. You were quiet. You were seen. You weren't heard. This is what I was taught for so long. I actually at one point was told, you need to wear makeup. I was 22 years old. I had really good skin. I didn't know we need to wear makeup. I needed to just be me. And so in thinking that and thinking about all those things that have impacted us and that we continue to let impact, when I went through that stage and I had those struggles and I explained I was lost for a period of time a year ago, that was the moment, that defining moment for me, that I realized it was time for me to step out of that little girl who got left behind, who felt abandoned because she wasn't good enough. It was time for me to go out there and share my message with people, to help other women lift up and allow their passion and love to come through, to build the businesses that they want, to build the lives they want, and not to let anyone else determine what that is. And so I encourage you, every single one of you, when you leave here, what is that? What's the little girl that got held back? What is or got left behind? Listen to her, determine where you want to be, and go after it. And do it with every ounce of passion that you possibly have. And don't ever let anyone tell you not to cry. Because you were meant to be who you are. And you all can do it. I know you can.